Welcome to the Excelsior Health Podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals and busy parents who are battling weight gain, high stress, and a drop of self-confidence. And what we do here, guys, is we take the complicated, confusing aspects of fitness and health, and we make it simple for you to execute and get transformational results. I'm your host, Coach Cory Fernandez, and today, guys, we got a great episode. What we're going to be talking about today is winning routines that produce transformational results. As a coach, a lot of the time when I'm mentoring and I'm coaching up our students or our clients, if you want to call it, a big upcoming problem that people go through is they just don't know how to structure their morning. They don't know how to structure their evening. They don't know how to close off the workday so that they can be productive, but also so that way they can get the important habits necessary for them to see results. So today I'm going to walk you through a lot of what we use with our clients, so that way you can literally add these actions, whether it's into your morning, when you close up from your work, whether you're working from home or you're at the office. And then one of the most important ones is how you control your evenings. All right. So way back, I read a book that I absolutely love and I recommend. It's called A Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And just the whole premise of the book is like small changes, right? Small habits done over a long period of time can produce transformational results, right? And in the book, he talks about, creating routines and rituals. And the term that he used that always stuck with me is a sweet dreams routine. That's like your evening routine. Or in the morning, you might call it rise and shine, rise and grind. But these are just aspects of ways that you can start your day. All right. So what I want to start with, let's start with the morning. And I think most people are familiar, especially nowadays with social media, with some sort of morning routine. But I want to give you guys some practical habits that you can add in. All right. So first thing, let's take a look at what do you do in the morning, right? Are you just getting out of bed, not giving yourself enough time, and just throwing on some clothes, jumping out the door with a coffee? One, you're going to be in a very, what I would say is reactive state, right? You're reacting to everything. You're looking at your phone, on your emails and your texts. You're not playing offense, which means you're not in control with how the day is supposed to go. All right. So before we talk about the things that maybe you shouldn't be doing in the evening, let's give you guys some very clear things that you can add into the morning. So another person that I have great respect for, I look at them as a mentor, is Shawn Stevenson, who's the author of Eat Smarter and Sleep Smarter. And I don't know when it was. I might have been listening to one of his podcasts, but basically he had shared some habits for the morning. And he calls it basically the Fantastic 5 morning habits. So once I started hearing those and implementing it into my life, I seen it make a huge impact. But I also seen and realized the impact it has when I started implementing it with my clients. The other thing I realized is a lot of people don't do these things. And they're simple, but even though when something is simple, it doesn't mean, I guess, it's easy for people to incorporate. All right, so let's go through these Fantastic 5 morning habits by Shawn Stevenson. So number 1 is drink 20 to 30 ounces of water first thing in the morning. So I'm actually really, really surprised at how hard this habit is for a lot of people. And I think it's just we're used to the caffeine. Maybe sometimes people are used to the traditional orange juice or whatever it might be. Or nowadays as well with like things like Rockstar and Monster and Celsius, it's just relying on an energy drink. So this is step 1, is when you wake up in the morning and, let's say you've got your clothes on, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, and you make yourself downstairs and you get into your kitchen. What you want to do, as you see my cup right here, is literally pour about this size, this is roughly, I think, 24 ounces, but anywhere from 20 to 30 ounces of water, and just sit in peace, right? Sit in peace. This literally will take you maybe 2 or 5 minutes, but drinking that water is going to have a great start to your day. All right. Now, reasons why is typically, if you got a good enough sleep, that might have been 6 to 8 hours. Maybe some people are sleeping for 5, but during that time, you're going to become dehydrated because you haven't been drinking water. So waking up in the morning and hydrating yourself, think of it as almost like a bath for your brain and for your mind, right? Everybody understands that, hey, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, yeah, it's good for me to take a good shower, right? Freshens myself up and gives me a little bit of energy to start my day. This is the same concept, is once you're going through your day, and whether it's at work, whether it's maybe doing some creative stuff like writing or, doing certain designs, whatever it might be, if you can't think clearly and you can't make your brain work optimally, you're going to have a hard time being productive. I think the term is like day fog or mind fog. It's just, you're just not clear with your thoughts. So this is going to help you be a little bit more mentally alert, so that way your brain can work at a better level. Also, when it comes to, nutrition wise, I think this is also going to help just being more full and satisfying some of the cravings that we get. So the traditional, American, Canadian, North American style is you wake up in the morning, you get a coffee, and then maybe it's cereal or maybe it's a bagel with cream cheese. These are some of the cravings that people have, right? So instead of going to that, is when you drink this water, now you're going to feel just more full, and you're going to have less of these urges for processed food, sugar, things that necessarily aren't going to give you any nutritional value. All right. So again, this seems like a very simple habit that doesn't make an impact, but if water is a crucial habit to being healthier and to losing body fat and all these things, starting your day getting good amounts of water is going to increase the chances that you get the right amount throughout the day, right? So most of the time when I'm talking to our clients and they're kind of struggling with water, it's like, it's the same questions. Like, hey, did you start the day, getting your 20 to 30 ounces? No, coach, I didn't do that. So step one, if you know you're someone who struggles to drink water, it's just start the morning doing that. And another kind of tip that I would add to that is probably having a similar water bottle, right? So whether you fill that up the night before and it's just sitting in the fridge, or it's like having a go-to cup that allows you to track your water, that makes it a little bit easier too. And I know another question that people usually have when it comes to drinking water, it's typically, how much water am I supposed to drink? Is it 4 gallons? Is it 1 gallon? Is it 4 liters, 3 liters? I think a normal amount that people prescribe is 4 liters. And not that 4 liters is bad. It's just for maybe a woman who's 120 pounds, 160 pounds, that might be a lot. So the way we prescribe it is think half of your body weight in ounces of water. That's how much you want to consume on a daily basis. So getting 20 to 30 ounces to start the day, it's going to have the mental impact, but also the physical impacts, so you can start being as healthy as possible. All right. So that's a fantastic 5 morning habit number 1. All right. So number 2, this one I'm a big advocate for, is access and invest into personal growth. All right. So what this means is, hey, learning, right? Being someone who's daily learning. So is this going to help you, lose body fat? No, but if you're learning about how you can do that, then yes, it's going to strengthen your conviction. It's going to make you more certain on what you're doing. So what are some ways that basically you can start to invest in access and personal growth? One of my absolute favorites is podcasting. So obviously you guys are doing that right now, listening to our podcast. Podcasting has changed my life. It's led me to other mentors who eventually I then invested in and went to their course, or I went to their mastermind event, or I did one-on-one coaching with them. Or sometimes it's just giving me a certain thought in my mind, a certain way of thinking. And even myself being a coach and a mentor, sometimes I hear different perspectives, and then I could relate it to my own personal experience. And now I can convey that message in a different way. So the way that's always helped me, there's 2 ways when it comes to podcasting, is my drive to work. So I'm the owner of Training for Warrior Sauga. I typically live, about 15 minutes from our dojo is what we call it. But it's a 15-minute commute. So on that ride to the morning and on that ride back home, that's a total of about 30 minutes in a day. So for me, 30 minutes of either an audio book or a podcast, and I can explore all different topics. My favorite topics that I love to learn about is health and fitness. Especially considering myself a professional, I'm always trying to stay up to date with the changes and things that's going on, whether it's nutrition, whether it's strength training, stress reduction. So that's one area. Another area for me is leadership. Being a coach, like leadership and being a business owner, that's a topic that I love to learn about. But also finances, entrepreneurship, business, systems. So whatever you're thinking about in your life that you just don't know the answers to, there's a podcast, there's a book out there that you can literally spend your ride to work and your ride home learning that. All right. So that'd be my number one recommendation. Number two, if you want to invest in personal growth in the morning, it would be reading. Reading a book. It's definitely when you pay attention to successful leaders out there, reading is definitely a habit that you see come up over and over and over again, right? And I know for me, there was a period that once I was done school, I didn't see a book for a long time. But once I came into being an entrepreneur, but even being a coach, reading was something that I had to do to continue to develop. So it doesn't mean you have to read a book, a day. And guys, as simple as 10 pages per day, or spending at least 15 minutes in the morning, even 5 minutes is going to make a difference, because any action over zero has the ability to compound after that. All right. Now you might, maybe you're more visual. Maybe it's watching a YouTube, maybe it's watching a course. But the point is you're filling your brain with food for growth, right? You're filling it with knowledge, and knowledge gives us the potential for power. We still have to take action after that, but I think the more we know, it gives us more opportunity to act on that. All right. So that's habit number 2 in the morning. All right. Number 3, proactively create your day. So a lot of times we feel overwhelmed. Maybe it leads to stress. It leads to anxiety. We are not efficient through the day. We're always responding and reacting to certain things. You're trying to make time to exercise and work out, but you haven't designed what the day should look like. So I personally like to do this in the evening, but there are times in the evening where, hey, you don't get it done. So a morning could be a great opportunity when you do that. So let's just say right now you've drinking your water, all right? You're sitting down there drinking your water. Now you take 5 minutes and literally write out, okay, what are the key things that I need to get done today? And basically one of the tools that we like to use, it's called the power list. And I'm actually going to talk about the power list a little bit later in the end of work routine. But creating your day is going to be a great way to stay focused and just have a ability to stay on track. All right. And not get distracted with other things that come up. So you might want to review meetings, important work requirements. Maybe it's certain things with your kids and their activities. One that I would hope that would be in there would be your workouts, your walks, your meals. So that's a great opportunity to do that. So you feel just a sense of clarity to start the day. Number 4, guys, is enliven your tissues and cells with movement. All right. So, that's a kind of more fancy way of saying it. Basically, all we want you guys to do is you want to get some exercise or some movement in there. So there's different things you could do. Maybe you're a person who loves to train in the morning. So that might be strength training for you, right? You hit some weights, you feel great. Maybe the hardest part of your day is done, and then you're on to go winning the rest of the day. For other people, it might not work with their schedule to get a 45, 60-minute, 90-minute workout in. So other ways of movement, hey, a very simple thing. It could be going outside for a 30 to 45-minute walk to start your day. Right? That's a really good thing. Someone else who maybe is into running, that might be their thing in the morning. They go for that 20-minute or that 30-minute jog outside or that run that clears their brain. It wakes up their tissues, it wakes up their cells, and now they're more primed to start their day. I would say even at the most basic level, what could be done is stretching. So maybe it's just a simple mobility routine for you that in your living room, you're taking about 10 minutes to go through some of these routines, whether it's a 90-90 stretch, a shoulder routine, just the things that maybe give you a little bit of discomfort throughout the day. So starting your day with some movement and exercise is going to go a long way. Now, number 5, all right, guys, synchronize your cells via sun exposure. So what this means, especially where we live in North America, it's Toronto, all right? So in Toronto, and especially on the East Coast, we don't get a lot of sun. Sometimes you'll wake up in the morning, it's dark outside. You go to work, sun comes out for a bit, but you're stuck in your office, you're stuck doing what you need to do. And then when you get out, it's 5 p.m. at night and the sun's gone, right? So what this is, it's called your circadian rhythm. It's being exposed to the sun. And what happens is this kind of makes all the things that need to get done in your body that work properly, it gets your cells working efficiently when they're more exposed to sunlight. And a lot of evidence kind of shows that just as simple as 10 minutes being outside in the morning can make a big impact. So when you're doing something like a walk, that can get 2 things done at once. You're getting sunlight and you're getting your steps and you're getting your movement. Maybe you don't have the time to get a walk, but you can take that cup of water and you can stack that habit, and maybe you're standing on your porch while the sun is out and you're just getting some sun, right? So recapping, guys, the 5 morning habits, the fantastic morning habits by Sean Stevenson. Hey, drink 20 to 30 ounces of water, do some sort of personal growth, daily learning. We want to get some daily movement in there, whether it's a training session, walking, some mobility. We want to basically expose to sunlight, sun exposure, so we can get your cells in your body moving optimally. And then last but not least, I skipped this one, is proactively create your day, right? So design your day so you're aware of what it should look like, what are the main tasks that need to get done. Now, a little bonus that we'll throw in there that would be great for your morning, and sometimes I struggle with this when I have different changes in my schedule, it's waking up at the same time each day, right? That goes a long way to making your training consistent, your eating habits consistent, but also your energy. So if you're waking up at 5 a.m., but then you're waking up at 7 a.m. and then at 10 a.m., it's hard to develop these consistent routines, all right? So now let's talk about the Treacherous Three. So these are the things that in the morning often negatively impact people's day. So starting out, number 1, which this is probably the hardest one, I think that we all kind of struggle with, it's scrolling through social media and like diving into your emails within the first 30 to 60 minutes, right? So it's normal for a lot of people. We wake up in the morning, we grab our phone, and right away we're just conditioned to be scrolling. And why is this maybe a treacherous or a negative thing? It's stress. Is sometimes you're scrolling and you see something on social media and it just sets you off. You see the Instagram model, you see the bodybuilder, and you look at yourself and it's like, man, like I don't look like that. You see something about the news and it's some negative thing on media that's put in there, and it's already setting you in this fight or flight state where you're reacting. So what I think Sean is saying is like, hey, take this 30 to 60 minutes to do all the things that we just described instead of going into social media and going into emails and distracting yourself, right? And just literally 30 minutes of not doing that could just put you in a more positive state, especially when you've done those fantastic 5 habits already, all right? Now, another one is hitting snooze. So why hitting snooze is probably not a great habit is there's a quote that I love is confidence comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. I believe I got that one from Ed Milet. And every time you say you're going to do something and you just don't do it, you start to break a little bit of trust within yourself, right? Like you're making an agreement to yourself that you're going to do something and you just don't do it. So when that trust breaks over time, you lack the belief, you lack the confidence, you lack the strength to do certain things, right? So a simple thing in the morning, like every day you say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., hit the alarm, and then you end up waking up at 6 a.m., you end up waking at 7 a.m. You're starting your day with a loss, basically. Saying that, no, I said I was going to do something, but nah, I ain't doing it. Right. So that's the mindset behind it. That's the meaning towards it. So I think Mel Robbins right now, she has one of the most popular podcasts, and she's a great author. She wrote a book that I read. It's The High Five Habit. And I think she has another book that I just remember this tool that she uses is just basically a 5-second countdown. So I remember her saying is like, hey, if you're sitting in your bed, you're debating like, man, should I get up? Oh, I'm so tired. It's literally count out loud 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just get up and just move, take action. And typically once you've just gotten up and you waddle your way into the washroom and brush your teeth, look in the mirror, you're ready to rock and roll. And that's sometimes the hardest step. So use that 5-second countdown and start your day building confidence with yourself, not breaking that trust with yourself. All right. So number 3 of the Treacherous Three morning habits would be irregular wake up times. So it's kind of what we already said is just don't have these different times you're constantly waking up, because it's hard for you to build a consistent routine, right? It's going to impact your energy levels. It's also going to impact your eating habits throughout the day. And if you're someone, obviously most of you guys are listening to this podcast is you're interested in transforming your health. If your eating habits are all over the place, it's going to hard for you to build momentum in that category. All right, team? So that's starting our morning off, right? So I think a lot of people understand that. They just are not clear on what are some things they can do. So those are some great things. Now, another routine that I want to set everybody up with today is, what about your end of work day? So everybody finishes work at different times. Some people it's at night, some people it's at noon. But what if you had a routine to like disconnect from work? All right. So this is what I call end of work routine. Okay. So here's a couple things that I've picked up along the way. So a 3x3 gratitude and wins journal entry. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a journal, it's a great way to take the junk that's in your brain and just get it onto paper and not let it sit there where you feel overwhelmed. So let's say you are done your workday. Now you open up that journal, and what we're going to do is we're going to write, hey, what are 3 things? Even if you just do 1, but I'd like to do 3. It's what are 3 things that I'm grateful for? It's very difficult to feel angry and upset and be grateful and appreciative at the same time. So when you're focusing on what's the good and what's the things that I could be appreciative in my life, it changes your state, right? And it could be simple things. It could be the simplest thing of saying, man, I'm so grateful for my partner in my life, right? I'm so grateful for my kids. Or sometimes you could challenge yourself to be more specific, right? I'm so grateful that that person opened the door for me today when I was at lunch. All right. So writing down 3 things that you're grateful is going to go for a long way in just changing your state and making you more thankful and appreciative. Next thing, what are 3 wins of the day? As human beings, it's so easy for us to focus on what's wrong. Oh, I didn't get this done. I'm so mad. I'm overweight. This person said this to me. Like we're easy. Like if we list all the problems, it'd be easy for us. But if we just focus on, hey, what are some of the great things that got done today that were a win, that can build some momentum for us, right? So maybe it was you finished your workout. Maybe you got a certain personal record in a certain lift. Maybe there was a meeting that you absolutely crushed, right? Maybe there was a moment between you and your kids. Maybe there was, some good quality time with you and your spouse. Whatever that win is, write it down. Okay? Now, next thing, it might be an area of improvement. So, for example, you might say, you know what? I wasn't very productive during my sales calls. I wasn't very on task at work today. I didn't finish my work. So that's kind of like what I want you guys to think of, a simple framework to entering in your end of day routine or your end of work routine is, hey, what are some things I'm grateful for? What are some wins? What are some improvements that I could do better? Right. And now I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I think it fits here more, is the last thing that I would end to kind of transition out of your workday routine is what is called a power list. So Andy Frisella, who's a very, successful entrepreneur, someone who I look up to as a mentor as well. He's got a great podcast. This was one tool that I picked up from him. And, basically the concept is, if we want to get these long-term transformational results, let's say, you want to lose 50 pounds of body fat. Let's say you want to prepare for a marathon. Let's say you want to start a business. Let's say you want to take your business from 6 figures to 7 figures. Whatever the goal is, in order to reach that long-term goal, you're going to have a system on how you can win each day. And that's kind of what this whole podcast is about is, hey, if we can win the morning, if we can have a win in the evening and we can have some control, that means, hey, we've done a pretty good job. And so what he shares with a lot of people is this power list. It gives you clarity on what you need to execute on. So basically what I want you to think, instead of having just some to-do list, it's more, what are the critical tasks that you want to get done the next day? So I'm going to imagine now it's 5 p.m. and you're about to clock out of work and you're sitting down. You just put your gratitude, your wins. You analyze your day and saw some areas of improvement. But now you're like, okay, this is my power list. For the next day, these are the 5 most critical things that I want done in my life. I'll just give an example. Maybe it's, I need to get my lower body session in at 5 a.m. tomorrow. That'd be one. I have an important sales meeting at 9 a.m. I have to spend an hour at my kids' basketball practice because it means that much to me. I have to read 10 pages per night, and I have to take my wife for dinner, right? So those might be your critical tasks that are important to you, that if you did those things the next day, it would serve as a win. And for a lot of people, we go to bed with overwhelm, with stress, because we just don't know how the next day should look. So to me, that's been something that has really, really helped me, not only as an entrepreneur, but I use it as a way to fit in the important things with my fitness, but also like to fit in the priorities of what I need to do as a father. So that would be my tip in terms of how you can maybe end work with some clarity to now disconnect and just go spend time with your loved ones and go spend time with your family. All right. Now, last but not least, sweet dreams bedtime routine. I think more people are familiar with morning routines, whether now it's, the focus on cold showers or ice tub and things like that. I think a lot of people don't focus on and how they end the day. And from my own personal experiences, I think the end of the day is the harder one. But once you get control of your end of day, man, it makes the mornings that much easier. All right. So a couple of things when it comes to your sweet dreams routine. This is one formula that I got from, I think, Craig Ballantyne in his book, The Perfect Week Formula. And basically, he talks about a sleep formula. It's called 3-2-1-0. And it's basically, these are ways that you can increase the likelihood that you have a good quality sleep. All right. So 3 hours before your, intended bedtime, you want to stop eating. Because when you eat too late at night, it impacts your digestive system. It throws off all your functions, and it can make you get up, right? Whether you're drinking water or you're eating, it can disrupt you in the middle of the night. So let's cut off our food, ideally, 3 hours. 2 hours before your bedtime, it's stopping work. This is a hard one. If you're very career oriented, you're a business owner, you're very career driven, like it's like you just want to keep doing what you love sometimes, or you have certain deadlines. But 2 hours before, you want to stop because you don't want to be so stimulated mentally and you don't want to be so stressed, which becomes hard for you to fall asleep. All right. Now, 1 hour before your intended bedtime, it's just disconnecting from technology. This is another hard one with our lifestyle. The phone is right there, right? Sometimes we have TVs in our room, or sometimes we just have lights on. We have certain things that are on. It's like, take all the technology, turn it off, right? 1 hour before our intended bedtime. And then what the 0 represents is kind of what we've already talked about. It's when you wake up after a good 7 hours, maybe if you're really on it, 8 hours of sleep, it's 0 times that you hit snooze for the next day. All right. So again, seeing that in practice, let's say your intended bedtime routine is, hey, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. That allows you to get a good quality 8 hours. That means, hey, by 8 o'clock, you've gotten your last meal and you've stopped, at least drinking water. By 9 o'clock, you're no longer doing any work. You're not checking any emails or anything like that. By now 10 o'clock, you're not watching Netflix. You're not scrolling through your phone. You're now focused on this last hour of optimizing your sweet dreams routine. All right. So let's talk about what can happen in this last hour. So some people would recommend using a reverse alarm. So it's normal in our culture that, hey, we use an alarm to wake up, but it's not as, regularly practiced to have an alarm go off to say, get your ass to bed. So that might be something for you that you need as a reminder, is put it on the phone. Is, hey, boom, 10 o'clock goes off, get to bed, right? We have this hour to implement our sweet dreams routine so we can knock out by 11. In the sweet dreams routine, there's 2 things that I think are really important that I would say outside of the normal, maybe taking a hot shower, maybe brushing your teeth, washing your face. All those things are probably going to happen. But 2 things that I highly recommend to help you just develop a more productive and getting more results. 1, it's reviewing your goals. So whatever your long-term transformation goals are and like the big aspects of your life that excite you, it's read those. Read those goals. Even maybe you're visualizing you being at that end destination. Just taking 5 to 10 minutes to reflect that can go a long way. All right. Last one, I already mentioned this, but I think this would be a great time where people do this, is reading their 10 pages. And I would say actually physically reading versus podcasting, because we don't want the technology around us and very easy access to the scrolling. So just opening up that book, sitting in your bed, focusing in your mind on one thing. It's obviously great that you're going to get the knowledge from it, but what it's going to do, it's going to slow down your heart rate. It's going to calm down your nervous system. And over time, you're going to start to get a little bit more ready for bed. And whether you get the 10 pages, you get the 5, if you start to feel tired and you're ready to go to sleep, that's the point of the Sweet Dreams routine. All right, team. So that's a lot for today. Now, just to recap, today's episode is about winning routines, right? There's a lot of things that we talked about today. I don't recommend you going and just completely doing a rehaul on your evening, your morning, your end of day. You're probably not going to be successful at doing that. However, let's start with one area. Maybe for you, where you feel the most chaotic right now is, hey, you need to control those last 2 hours of your day. Maybe it's you need to control the first 30 minutes to an hour of your morning, or maybe you just need a little system of how you need to disconnect from work. Today, I've given you 3 different scenarios that you can use. And over time, maybe it's over the course of a quarter, right? 1 month, you're focused on the morning routines. Then you start to add in the evening. And then finally, you add in the end of work. Hey, after a quarter, you could be a different person. And this can open up way more productivity for you to be successful in your fitness journey, but also in your career and in your family life. All right. So hopefully you guys got value from this today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share this to a loved one, share this to a friend. The more we share this, guys, the more people we can help. And if you guys are looking for mentorship and coaching on areas like this, but as well as strength training, how to incorporate healthy habits like nutrition and sleep, and how to surround yourself in a positive environment, then check out Training for Warriors Sauga. That is our program, that's in-person program that we have here in Mississauga. And we would love to connect with you. All right. I'm Coach Cory signing out. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Beastin'.